Can we get a roll call of who's in attendance?
Certainly.
There he is. Of course, he's probably got a key.
All right, Donald Alderman,
Here.
Ron Wilson,
Here.
Yvonne Andrews. I guess she's not here. Is she not with you, Ron? Oh,
She's
there?
not with me tonight.
Oh, not with you. Okay, gotcha. Brad Riddle
Here.
and Mike Kearney.
Here.
Righty.
Okay, I guess the next thing we have to do is approve the previous meeting's minutes. Do we have those anywhere? I guess we don't need them. We just approve them if
They're
there's any.
attached, yeah, they're underneath the agenda.
Oh, and I'm looking at the wrong one.
Uh,
Is there any questions on the previous meeting's minutes?
Nope.
Can I get a first and a second on approving them?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
And I guess we need to get a roll call vote on that as well.
All right. Don Alderman,
Yes.
Ron Wilson,
Approved.
Yvonne Andrews, Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Ah.
Motion passes 4-0.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad. I was calling you Tom earlier. I don't know why. It's all right. Oh, I know why Tom. What was the movie?
Oh, Tom Riddle, I got you.
Yeah, that's where it stuck. Okay. My kids and mom and wife made me watch that end to end. I tell you.
Mr. Chair, Yvonne Andrews has joined the meeting via Zoom.
Okay. All righty. Well, at this point, I guess the first. Which one are we doing first here?
Hold on,
Zoning.
hold on.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, there you are.
I didn't even tell him about the date too.
Okay.
Is that the Z20-05? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And if I could have, the attorneys are here. Yeah, oh, there he is. Okay. I guess we can have the attorney lead us on the reading of Z20-05.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, I'm cooking.
But what you ate?
Where's your picture, Ron?
You want to show the picture?
Yeah, turn it toward me a little.
Where's your picture?
All right. That gave me time to situate and figure out which agenda I should be looking at. I had the history board in front of me. So this is resolution number Z20-05, Seventh-day Adventists rezoning request. This is an application by the Florida Conference Association Seventh-day Adventists to rezone parcel 03040000000 from R1 to C3. And the appropriate motion would be to pass the resolution recommending approval as read by title only, or deny it, or potentially after discussion approve it with certain conditions that would be recommended to the commission on this. We are in quasi-judicial, and I want to remind everybody of that. So we'll go through our quasi-judicial proceeding tonight in terms of swearing in any witnesses who intend to speak and having any disclosures from any of our board members in terms of ex parte communications. So with that, I guess I would first start by asking our board members, has anybody had any discussions with anybody regarding this particular matter that's before the board tonight?
No.
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 I have not.
Okay, and then do we have any individuals here who intend to speak, provide testimony, offer any evidence on the matter tonight?
If there's anyone online, please click raise your hand.
There's nobody from the public, Mr. Chair.
All right. There's no one from the public.
Okay. And then, Ms. Christie, I guess we would then have you provide us from staff's perspective with just a very brief overview of what's in front of the board tonight.
Sure thing. I don't actually have a laptop in front of me, but Kevin, can you pull up and screen share Map Genius for me? Is that...
Get closer to your mic. We can barely hear you,
Oh,
Christy.
sorry. I'm a little closer now. How about that? You can hear me?
Good.
All right. We're having Kevin pull up a map. I should have warned him ahead of time. Sorry, Kevin. So basically, it's just a very simple rezoning. It's a small parcel off 441 that's by a church going from R1 to C3. It's directly next to a parcel that's zone C3. Staff doesn't really see any issue with what they're proposing. Kevin's going to pull up the actual parcel for you. I think it's about 2-ish acres. Let's see, where are you? Go towards the church. Where are you? Keep going.
There's Memorial Park. Keep going.
It's a little past. Keep going.
LTD Motors, past that, or
All right, see that small sliver? It's
next
one
to
next
one.
to it. To the right,
Right
that
there.
one. There you go. You got it. All right, give it a little click and pull up the info on it.
There we go.
There you go. Oh, I thought it was shared. I'm sorry.
We're glad we got you here. I couldn't figure that out.
All right, so that's the parcel in question, and I'm available for if anybody has any questions on the project or the rezoning or anything like that.
Where's the church?
The church is the parcel directly to the right of it, that larger
Yeah.
parcel.
The big one.
The big one, yes.
Well, that's actually an open field. The church is actually to the right of that, if you were to look at the picture directly.
Yeah, their building isn't right up on it. There's a big
Right.
old field that they have, but
You-
it's
you
their
guys-
parcel.
you
Yeah,
see what- there
same
you go.
parcel there.
Right. Okay. Now
That's where, okay, where the cursor is?
Right where
Yeah,
the,
it's right next to the church. It's that it's heavily wooded, has I guess it's an abandoned structure on it or unused structure.
an old house.
Yeah, an old house.
Is that the house that was in the woods?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I remember that when I was codes officer. All right.
Well, now you were asking earlier, I thought we were talking about that, the zoning, and right next to it, it's zoned the same thing that they want to zone it to, right?
Correct. Right to the left of it
Okay.
is
It's zone commercial.
commercial. Can you pull up the overlay on it if you
This is.
on that page, but go down, there's a zoning. Little up, there you go, and hit the zoning button. So the yellow is the R1 that they're changing. That red right there, that's the C3 that they're changing to. So they've even got it to the north. I mean, this area is in general, the commercial area.
Gotcha.
So they just want to change this one lot.
Correct.
To match the lot to the left of it.
Yeah.
And the city has they've looked at it and they think it's fine. There's no
Correct,
complication.
yeah. We don't see any issue with rezoning it.
And we're well within the rights. It's within the rezoning of that. So it's
Okay.
capable of doing that.
Falls within the land use
Yep.
thing.
We're here.
And based on this last email, Christie, it appears, I just now finally got to read it. They will be connected to both the city water, sewer, and storm.
Yes, if they decided to develop it or anything like that, it would be connected to our utilities.
Oh, they may sell it.
And it appears it's not going to tax the system very much at all.
Right,
Based
yeah,
on
it's
the-
not gonna
based on their
affect our
calculated-
capacity or anything
right.
like that.
What do you mean it's not gonna tax it very much?
I'm sorry.
Are
what
there
was the
gonna have to be
question?
more pipes?
Are there gonna be more pipes?
He means with the system, yeah, there eventually will be but they still have to go through and want to build and all that stuff. And then at
Right,
that
yeah.
point,
I mean, it's only a rezoning right now, so we don't have any sort of we don't know what they want to do with it. We don't have a plan, don't know if they want to develop it. It's just a rezoning at this point, but based on that preliminary look that the planning council did, they don't see like an impact that would be too great for our system.
But does that even have an effect on our voting? We're supposed to basically vote on the
Right,
fact,
yeah, it's not supposed to have any impact on what you
Right.
guys are voting. This is simply just.
whether it's
rezoning.
legal or we don't even take into account if the neighbor next door doesn't like it. It's just whether it's legal and all that stuff. That's what our job is to do. Right, we're not council. Okay.
We know what's on that lot next to it? Anything? No, I think it's just woods.
Yeah, it's just woods to the left there. Any more questions?
No.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead. No more questions? All right, I guess we'll close the board discussion. I guess we need a motion and a second on this to approve it or not to approve it. I guess to approve it.
It's not here.
I'll make a motion for resolution number Z 20-05 that we approve this rezoning.
Do I have a second?
Who is that speaking?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second, and I guess we need to reopen for public discussion. Is there anybody who's logged in since?
Mr. Chair, there is nobody logged into Zoom at this time.
All right, well, then we're gonna close it, the second public discussion, and I guess we'll do a roll call vote.
Donald Alderman,
Yes?
Ron Wilson,
Yes.
Yvonne Andrews,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Is that all that's for the actual planning board, or do we keep it open and go to the new thing, or is that something different? Or do we just use it do we close this planning board meeting and open this?
I would defer to the attorney on that one. I'm not sure if.
Yes, we-
I
Miss,
want a discussion on record.
Mr.
Okay, so
Chairman,
yes,
I have one correction to records. It might not be a big thing, but the minutes that you sent out to me were dated 2020. Should be dated 2021.
No.
Oh, you're right. I messed up. I wrote January 26, 2020. It should be 21. I'll note
Yes.
that and I'll correct it.
Mm-hmm.
So that can just be reflected in the meeting minutes as well to make a record of it. And to answer Mr. Chair's question, we do want to adjourn this meeting and then reopen with the Preservation Board to follow. If you want to take a brief recess, we can do that. Otherwise, we can just, if we're ready.
Carry on.
I just have a point that I would like to bring up before the plan board.
okay.
I'm just concerned that the movie theater sale, which I'm not convinced. Well, I'm sure it's probably illegal, but I don't understand why it didn't have to come before the plan board if it's being sold to a church to be used as a church. And I know from a fact and conversation, that's why they bought it.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
a
let's
yeah.
not kid anybody. So, I mean, all they had to do was come before the plan board, but there's other businesses right around there where there's alcohol. So I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
We actually met with the attorneys and had some discussions in reference to that. And the conforming businesses around those that were pre-existing would not be impacted by that sale if that was to occur.
Yeah.
But it is also rumor at this point that that sale has kind of paused at this point. So the direction on where that's going to go at this point in time, I don't know, but just like any other sale of property, plan board really doesn't govern how that sale goes. So we don't bring every sale of property forthcoming unless there's a zoning change or anything else, a zoning change or some sort of property change to go with it that would have impact the zoning or anything planning.
But changing it to being zoned for a church, we'd change it, right?
Not changing the zoning would remain the same, still an assembly occupancy.
I wish you all were speaking to your mics.
I am speaking into my mic, I have a muzzle on, i.e. and that.
So, ooh, is that better? So if they do buy it, which I understand the implications is that pretty well anybody can sell any piece of property. We don't have a say in that. I understand that. But it is an assembly, but they are changing the land use because it affects the properties around it.
It's not changing the land use, it's just changing.
The assembly use.
Under land use, that's not gonna change.
Well,
I'll defer to the attorneys if we get much more in detail on this, but if we have change occupancy all the time.
correct.
We have new businesses come in,
Right.
whether we don't govern in this board what comes in. So I don't, unless it's being a zoning change, if it's going, like his property we just did, it's going from residential to commercial.
Correct.
It's like zoning next door. We're here to make sure it's appropriate to the area due to the change. Now, if that church or that theater, if you will, was going from commercial to industrial, and it was changing that way, then it would go to the board at that point.
But then you said earlier that it doesn't affect any pre-existing restaurants in the area.
Correct.
But does it affect any new restaurants coming in?
It absolutely will.
Then that's a land use that's affecting other properties.
But it would only affect if they were serving alcohol at that point in time, and that's governed by our ordinance, which is available online or available at the planning office, if you will. But, I mean, Rich, you have anything to add?
Well, I do know that transaction has been has been vetted with our office a bit. I wasn't aware that that's been put on hold, which, I guess we'll have to understand why that is or what the prospects are of it moving forward. I really don't know that, I mean, obviously they have to use it within the current comp plan and permitted land uses. If they're going to change the usage of it, then, and that's not permitted, then obviously they would have to come before the plan board, but I don't know that that is actually where we are at this point. It sounds like it probably would be something for the city attorney and staff to get together after tonight's meeting. I appreciate the issue coming up. I don't, but obviously nothing for the board to decide tonight on it, but we can find out a little bit more about where they are with the transaction and what's going on, and if there are other procedural steps that would have to take place on that. But we'd be happy to report back on that issue at our next meeting. So
my concern had to do with the issues that we went through some years ago when over at the public shopping center and the church across the street, where we changed the ordinance, 500 feet?
Yes.
And now suddenly we've got liquor right next to it. Well, I would think that somebody's going to come in eventually and want to do something. Maybe I don't know, but like, can't tell the next guy no.
No, I mean, I will let the board know that, I mean, this is something that staff is currently aware of. It's stuff that's been in discussion. There's 100 ideas thrown out there right now. It is in a discussion phase. I mean, the attorneys have been part of some of these discussions. We're in the process of redoing the company and LDC's being redone. There's a lot of moving parts going on right now. And I'm not saying you'll see anything in the near future, but it is something on our radar that's being discussed. So we're aware of it.
Because I did suggest to the church that, like, we don't want to see the theater lose its rights to have first run movies, because it's a historic theater in the state of Florida. And it has privileges most theaters don't have.
Right. Well, also, you don't, even though you're still within your rights of putting a church there or whatever else there that meets the code, nothing else there really affects the other surrounding properties as great as a church going in there.
Yes.
I mean, if one of the restaurants closes down, or heaven forbid several of them, and then reopen a year later, they can't serve alcohol.
Well, that property is off the tax rolls once it's a church.
Right. That's another thing.
And is that in the historic?
Say that again.
Not in the historic.
Say that once more.
It does fall in the historic district, but I mean, you gotta remember too, churches are governed, there's some different
They
rules.
they don't hear us. They don't hear us.
Well, so there's certain things we can do,
Rick?
and certain things we can't.
We hear you, Bruce Gillingham's talking right now. Go ahead.
You know,
We
there's
asked them
certain
to repeat that.
Which
Shoot.
part? How far back you want me to go back, or you want Mike to talk?
No.
So
Mr. Gallant.
there's certain things that we can govern on churches, there's certain things we can't, and vice versa. So, I mean, the thing that we're discussing right now is the private sale of private property. I mean, I'm not sure that that's the appropriate, concern of this board or things along those lines, but if it was changing and it was going to be, like I said, if it was going to be a significant change going from like commercial, industrial, or commercial change, or things along those lines, whether it was a church or anything else, it would come forth to this board. So with that being said, yes, if it was going to be something significant, and like I can use a couple of your businesses in town as an example, if it was going from, let's just use the former diner, if that was going from a diner to a clothing store, mercantile, yeah, it falls within the commercial aspects of it. But it wouldn't come to this board because it's still zoned appropriately for that commercial aspect of mercantile.
Yeah.
But mercantile wouldn't affect the properties around it.
Depends.
But
you can't look at it as what's
right.
affecting the properties around it. I mean, it's not like you're putting a hazmat facility or hazardous materials facility right
Correct.
there in downtown. What the effect's going to be? I mean, what effects are you looking at in that area? Just the fact they can't serve alcohol. I mean, other than the brewery in that surrounding area, what would that affect at this current moment? I mean, we're not talking future growth. We're talking like here and now when we're looking at these things. I mean, if we look at future growth, we could what if this all day long.
Right. Well, I don't think we're questioning the sale. It's just that I guess when it comes to the point that they do this, I think that something like this should be discussed just for the protection of the downtown. Maybe a variance can be written for them, or they can write say that what was existing now can still be that in the future,
So
as long as they're there.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to add a whole lot to this, but my recollection is we looked at this months ago at this point, and when we looked at the land development code, it was kind of interesting because it talked in terms of an established church in terms of the 500 feet. And I just pulled up the section very quickly. It's section 10.3 of our land development code. No alcoholic beverages shall be sold within 500 feet of an established church. And so here, it's not an established church. It's sort of the reverse. So the language that's in our code as it currently exists contemplates a scenario where there would be an established church in a scenario where the church is coming in, where the brewery perhaps already exists. It probably, to the extent it's not specifically covered in our land development codes, there's a concept of non-conforming uses, and it's essentially a fancy word for saying grandfathered in. And I know a lot of us are familiar with the term grandfathered in. So I don't know what the actual outcome was on that analysis, but I think where we were going with it is that the brewery would still be able to continue conducting its business because even though it may be within 500 feet of a church, it's not an established church. So it's grandfathered in. The other questions, though, that are being raised tonight, I think I would have to go back and check our file and see where we were on that and decide from a use perspective, what can that theater be used for? Does it fall within the established uses already for that property? And I think what Chief Gillingham is saying as well is there is the element of our job is not necessarily to step in and stop a transaction from happening in terms of a transfer of real estate. But ultimately, whether it's through this board, through an application for some kind of non-conforming use or variance or something like that, or perhaps a code enforcement issue, that would be subject matter for another day in front of the appropriate board.
So I would like, I just spoke to the city manager, so I'm allowed to go and involve some of the things that we've been talking about. And I just want to, some of the ideas on the table right now, because this is a concern. Staff has discussed it, we've looked at it, we've looked at the possibilities of bringing the South Ordinance back. Discussing a couple things, or establishing a possible entertainment district in the downtown corridor, if you will, or something, whatever we decide to call it, because of the close-knit quarters downtown with zero lot line and things like that. So this non-conformity or this issue would be addressed.
Gotcha.
So we would have a designated district, whatever district we use, or we'll establish our own district, whether part of it's CRA, part of it's in historic, or whatever global area we would have, and say, we either would reduce the scope of that ordinance and say 100 feet or 50 feet or 0 feet, for instance, and just say it's not applicable in this area, because you do run into the deal right now, like you have the great outdoors and you have the church next door or the youth ministry.
Yes, that's very true.
You have, this on the table with the brewery and, the possibility of a restaurant going into the old Herald building and now this church, and you've got restaurants in those areas. So this is one of the ideas we're currently exploring, and we still got to get with legal. We still got to massage the ideas out, but that's something that you will probably be seeing. I won't say like tomorrow in the near future, but maybe this year, if we can get the comp plan done and get through the LDC and get through water and sewer master plans and all these other 50,000 things we're doing is on that list of things to try to accomplish to get going, because it is an identified need right now. We want to make the downtown grow.
Yes.
And become more inviting for people and businesses to come downtown, try to keep some of that business down here and continue that future vision for downtown High Springs, so if this doesn't die and we can keep building on it.
Any more discussion on that? All right, I don't know if this is before the planning board either. I just had a question. If maybe it should go before council, but I'll bring it up here and maybe I can get some advice. The food giveaways on Wednesdays over by the Civic Center are now clogging up roadways on Wednesdays. I guess this Saturday it was even worse, but that was a special thing. I guess happens only a few times a year. But on Wednesdays, you will find cars parked all up and down the roads, on the sidewalks, destroying, and people that are walking their animals or just walk and can't walk on the sidewalks anymore. You've got people, the whole side road there to the down along the cemetery is now dirt that used to be grass, as well as being Wednesdays an early let out day for the kids at school. So people that technically aren't supposed to be watching and hanging around children can have a free way to case the area as well. I'm not saying that they're all criminals or anything, but a criminal could sit in there that's not supposed to be around children and track their whereabouts and their movements. So I think we need to either through this or some other way, look at moving that giveaway or whatever to a more commercial area, either to the commercial district down there at the south end of town, or farmers market area or something. But it's gotten pretty bad down there now. I mean, I'm actually been working down there lately, and I've had neighbors come up and said they've been complaining about this for years since it's been going on, and nobody's addressed it. As well as some of the attitudes of the people that are up and you say, hey, move your car over, I need to get in my driveway, and they are pretty belligerent about it. So I don't know how we need to address that. Is that something that will go through the planning board, or we need to go through council? Does anybody have any information on that?
I
suggest you bring it to the council.
I thought the farmer's market would be the perfect place to do something like this as a community effort, I would think. What do you think?
Well, there's not enough room over there because the amount of people it draws. Now,
I know, it's just unbelievable what it's drawn.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, Mr. Alderman and I spoke Saturday about
Yes.
this at length. So for the record, I just want to have full disclosure on this. One, I think it needs to be brought to the commission's attention, whether whoever does it at this point. I mean, and however, I'll give it to the city manager and say, hey, let's get it on the agenda, or at least have a conversation with the city manager and kind of look at what we can do. That whole thing Wednesday was originally being held somewhere else, and it kind of fell through and it went to the Civic Center.
Saturday.
No, Saturday is a different deal.
Oh, that was okay.
Wednesdays and Saturdays, the Wednesday giveaway and the Saturday food share.
Right, okay.
The same.
Gotcha.
What's the difference? I mean,
They're two different entities, two different companies. So the Wednesday event is a group that does food giveaway every Wednesday. They have they've gone to a couple different locations, and that thing just keeps growing and growing and growing. We're aware of it. Damon and I have actually had some conversations about this because they're using parks facilities. We're looking at some options. There's not enough room. If we move it to the farmer's market, it's just going to clog up railroad. It's going to cause some issues over there. So there's some discussions there. Now, one of the issues that we'll get in the farm share right now, one of the issues Saturday was trash pickup was moved. And the garbage truck's trying to go through there because it wasn't on Friday because of the holiday the week before. So there was a couple different issues there, but we do 4 farm shares events a year approximately. We do them every quarter. And those are normally held on Saturdays, which we normally don't have any issues, but because of the garbage pickup, we kind of didn't need that this go around. I think it was an oversight. I know I didn't think about it until Mr. Alderman called. Never really was even in my radar, so it's something we'll pay attention to from this point forward. But those are only a couple times a year, so I don't know what the impact would be, but I think the combination between the impact of that and then the other group on Wednesdays is just compounding issues in that area that, again, staff's looking out. David's been out for the last couple of weeks. He'll be back. He should be back tomorrow. It's on the radar to look at where else we can go. We can try to figure that out.
The line just getting longer and longer. I mean, people need food.
I mean, we Saturday, we did 300, I believe we did 300 meals
Did
for
you
300
really?
families, and we were done. We started at 9, a little bit before 9. We were done.
Until you got staff on scene, there was the road, the line was down 236 past the school.
The staff was on scene at 6:30 in the morning. But
Well,
people
they
start
lined up
at
at,
1 a.m.
yeah, it was, no.
That overnight staff with PD, they follow. And I mean, the stuff on Wednesday, it doesn't start till late afternoon. They start lining up like 7 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So-
idling all day long there, so.
So I would honestly recommend, either, if the board wants to handle it, get with the city manager and kind of go from there and you figure out if we want to put it, or if, individually get with the city manager and then start looking at going either to the commission at that point or see what direction. the city
What do you
manager
mean, the
has.
city commission? Are you recommending it to the city commission?
No, I'm recommending that you get with the city manager to start with and see if staff can have some internal controls to see if we can try to relocate this with them and try to cut down on some of that traffic in that part of town, at least for the Wednesday things. The farm share event, I don't know, with it being 4 times a year, that we should address that other than just pay attention to like the trash service gets moved. And see what we can do on the Wednesday things. And if we don't come to a resolution, maybe we take the, at the city manager direction or at whatever, if you, like any other citizen, you can go to the commission and bring up whatever issues you feel are important.
Well, it's a necessary service these days. I mean, people really, they're not there for fun. They're there because they need the food.
And I will admit, I didn't even know this was really going on other than the fact that they were given away, but until I've been working in the area and talking to the residents, they say it's a nightmare to them getting out of their driveways. They got a car's parked right in front of their driveway. They can't even back out. They said the people are pretty adamant. One gentleman I talked to the other day said he got a car to finally move up, and as he started to back out, the guy behind him pulled up and blocked him and said, "Tough, I'm next in line," like he was going to cut in. So and then, like I said, these elderly ladies I'm talking to that are walking, they go, "We have to walk in a potted road because they're parking on the sidewalk."
Yeah.
Just give us the time to have a meeting with them so we can talk about
All right.
kind of what's going on and, go out there. I mean, I'd like to go out there and see it myself and then talk about what the solutions are.
Rick, what is she saying?
Yeah, we want to provide the service.
Yeah.
She's saying to get with her to set up a meeting with them.
Yeah, we want to.
Who is that?
Service.
City manager.
Yeah, it's a good service.
Right.
And it's needed in the community, but, give us a chance to talk to them and
Right.
explore better ways of kind of doing things. And it might be a new location, it might be traffic control. I mean, there's a variety of options out there. We just need to have time. It's been brought to our attention. Yeah. Please give us time to, we can't solve it in a week.
Nope.
Just give us a few weeks, to get out there. We'll get Antoine out there. But we'll come up with the solutions and see how we can make things better. So we hear the concerns and they're legit.
Okay. Anything else on that? All right, I need a motion to close the meeting?
I make a motion, we close this meeting.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, I guess that concludes the planning board meeting. And do we have to open a special meeting for this? What is this board called that we're doing now?
Historical
The
preservation.
Historic
Board.
Preservation Board.
Do we do that, open it the same way, I guess?
I'm
Or
not
just-
sure. I haven't been around for one. The last one was done back in 2013-ish.
I've-
So we're.
I see someone
I'll leave it
smiling
up to the
online, so.
attorney. You
I'm-
lead
I'm-
on this one.
Yes, we open it, we actually run it just like the plan board meeting. We
Okay,
call it a special meeting. It is a preservation board
Need to
meeting.
be up? Oh, yeah.
okay, then I guess it is, what is it, 7:06 PM? We'll call the Historic Preservation Board meeting to order. I guess we don't need to do the pledge of allegiance since we still haven't left. We're doing the same thing. I guess we need a roll call.
Donald Alderman? Okay, no, it's not
Did you send me that, Christian? No.
Yes, I sent that one. So roll call, Donald Alderman,
Here.
Ron Wilson,
Here.
Yvonne Andrews,
Here.
Brad Riddle,
Here.
Mike Kearney.
Here.
Okay. We don't have a previous of this since I haven't done it before yet.
This is an important group, though.
Yeah. I guess we need a resolution number, which is, or is it an ID number?
What are you talking about?
Or
It's
it's an application.
It's an application? Okay. Do we have an application? Oh, here it is. Z. No, that's the wrong one.
No. Go all the way down to the roll call. She's just did the roll call. Go down to the certification appropriateness demolition number.
Right, it looks like I didn't put the application number on there.
Is it on the application?
What?
No, because it gets written in afterwards, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
is that gonna throw a wrench into everything if I don't have the correct number?
Can we just say pending application for this? Would that work?
That's fine. We can identify the application. I can read the application title. And
Okay.
Once we have a number assigned to this, we can, in the meeting minutes, we'll want to identify the application number.
Okay.
to-
Then I guess if you will go ahead and read the resolution or the application.
Okay. This is an application by Florida to Florida LLC to demolish an existing vacant retail building within the historic district. And once again, we are governed by quasi judicial. So I'll ask all of our members of the board if there's anyone who has had any ex parte communications regarding this matter.
No.
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 Okay.
I have not.
And then do we have anybody here, including the applicant, who intends to speak, provide any evidence on this matter tonight?
Did you want to speak?
Is there?
Mr. Chair, there are no participants joining us via Zoom, and there's nobody in the commission chambers at this time. That's not city staff.
Okay, and then so having no speakers from the public and the applicant not being present, we'll have, once again, Ms. Christie, if she could give us an overview from staff as far as what the issue is before the board this evening.
I'd love to. So this is an application for a demolition. They want to demolish a smaller building that's on a parcel. There's also another building on that same parcel. They're keeping that one. The intent is that they'll demolish this one and then eventually develop the other one for a use. The applicant says that this building is of no use to them. It's just clutter in the way, a hazard. If you flip to the next page, you can see a picture of it. It's not on the historic register. So staff has no issues going forward with a demolition on this one.
I must be missing something.
Here, I'll give you mine. Well, at this time, there's still no one from the public that you have listed online, so I guess there's no public discussion. I guess we need to open a board discussion. Anybody have any comments?
My only comment is I think it's anything we can do to remove unwanted empty buildings in this city is going to be helpful to everybody, including our fire marshal.
Oh, God. Okay.
I want to restore it.
Antoine, the police chief, has hired a new code compliance officer. She is new to the field, very energetic, knows a lot already, and we're sending her to some training. But one thing that I've been working with them on is working on, it's called the International Property Maintenance Code. Going through that, adopting it, and making amendments to it that fit High Springs. So hopefully the goal is to get that to the commission in the next 2 months. It's a rather large document. So our building codes are the Florida building codes, but they're based on the International Code Council's international codes, and the IPMC is compatible then with our building codes as well, just to let you know, which is important for structures such as this. So it has, one of the things that makes the code very strong is that it has methods in place for handling substandard structures and vacant properties. So it will give them more tools to take care of these issues. So I just wanted you to know that we recognize it's a problem and we are moving forward. But there are a lot of them in the city, and it is a process. So, just because we pass this code, it's not going to be done, all done immediately. We still have to go through the process, give the homeowners a chance to make things right. And there is a cost associated if they don't do repairs and they do need to demolish and they're not willing to do what they need to do. So that there's going to be funding issues that we need to look into as well. But we're working on it, and we will also make a map of the properties that are the worst, so that we can start getting through those first. One of the first properties is the burnt building, and that was a discussion at the last commission meeting. So I don't want to mess up your meetings, but I also don't want you to think that we know there's issues that we're just kind of chilling, not handling, because it's important to us to make the community a better place.
Thank you. Is there any more?
Yes, I have the topographic map, but can someone kind of speak to where this building is located?
You know where the Presbyterian Church is downtown? It's to the right of it if you're facing the front of the building. Yeah, I guess it's been a restaurant in the past, and I guess a dog grooming place and a few other things. It's the yellow building right there between the Presbyterian Church and I guess an antique shop to the right of it.
Okay.
The old Wilton Barbers and soul food restaurants and a couple things.
So they just want to, burn it down or what?
I'm not going to burn it down. They're going to tear it down. I won't allow them to burn it down.
Just the building in the front. The one in the back is still going to stay there.
Okay.
Any more discussion? I guess we'll close the discussion, and I need a motion to accept or deny it.
Make a motion, we accept it and move forward.
A second?
Second it.
First and second. I guess we need to open for public discussion. Is there anyone else still
There's nobody.
not online or anything?
Mr. Chair, no one has joined us on Zoom.
All right, close second, public discussion. Need a roll call?
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Ron Wilson,
Yes.
Yvonne Andrews,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kernan.
Yeah.
Motion passes 5-0.
Is that it of all our stuff?
That's everything I've got on your agenda. So
I need
you're
a-
done.
Make a motion.
First-
we-
Right one.
I make a motion, we adjourn at this time.
Need a second?
I second it.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
You're opposed? Oh, you're a little late. Okay, never mind. All right, this concludes the meeting.